awesome HBCU, the best HBCU. I ain't gonna say anything about you all's HBCUs, but I can only speak for mine. But aside from that, that's really amazing. So the way that this is gonna get set up is that we have a few questions that we're gonna ask our panelists. I wanna ask that the panelists kind of keep your answers between 45 seconds, no more than a minute at most, so that we can get through all of the questions. And we'll go ahead and get started at the end. If our students have any questions, we'll take those and just go from there. Our first question to our panelists, you all can, anyone can answer at first. It's going to be, what are some misconceptions about your HBCU and attending an HBCU?
I can kind of speak for my HBCU. I don't think there are many misconceptions about my HBCU just because it is a small, lesser known college. But overall, attending HBCU, I really think it was kind of what I expected. So I don't think there are too many misconceptions about it. It has its ghetto moments and it has its glorious moments. So
I'll definitely add that probably one of the biggest misconceptions in regards to the AUC would probably be that like we're all like privileged and spoon fed. That'll be the main one that I hear often whenever it comes to me telling everybody that I go to Morehouse and everything. Like they automatically assume that my family is just this wealthy family, or like my education getting paid for, this, that, and the third. Like so that's probably the biggest misconception that I face.
I would say the biggest misconception for me was that people didn't think I would know as much because I went to this HBCU, and because they didn't believe the classes were as rigorous as other classes or at other schools, not realizing that the atmosphere teaches you just as much as the classroom. So even though you may not feel like, the work is as challenging, you go through different struggles and they all teach you something differently. So I feel like that would be it.
Those are great answers, and I can add to it. Honestly, at any institution, be it PWI or HBCU, it's not gonna be perfect regardless. So it's all gonna be about what you make of the experience. And I feel like HBCUs have the culture to kind of help you prevail in a sense. And so I think that's really like the best thing about going to one. But I think you all have some awesome answers. Thank you for that. Our next question is going to be, how do you feel attending an HBCU has contributed to your success?
So for me, it taught me how to hustle. I was doing like everything I could to make $1 and to get through this schoolwork. So yeah, and I had a lot of it also helped me be successful because it was a family, so some schools you kind of get lost there, but because it was so small, like Ivory said, our school is really small. Everybody knows one another. So you have people who are on your butt about going to class, trying to make sure you're okay. So that really helped me to get through it. So days I was like, I'm not feeling it. You got 5 people that hit you up like, you went in class, where you going? You okay? So that was really helpful for me.
I would have to say that it matured me a lot. It encouraged me to continue to speak up about things that I need done and want to happen. Because like dealing with financial aid, they'll just tell you like, yeah, you need this amount of money. Like they're not gonna help you. They're not gonna put their hand out to reach you. Like they just send you the email and that's it. So it's kind of like me having to go out of my way to either press them about giving me scholarships or press them about getting my money, my funds right. It just kind of like helped me become more outspoken. And then the campus atmosphere, it brought like that hustle, like she said, that hustle and the determination and motivation, because it's like-minded brothers that are around me that want to do big things. So it's like, why would I continue to sit back and just watch them do everything? Why not, get hands on and start making stuff shake for myself? So yeah.
I actually agree with both of you all. I do think Philander has given me a lot of opportunities that I might not have at other institutions. And it also taught me how to really tackle problem solving in effective ways, because it's a lot of stuff that goes on and you got to figure out how to handle certain situations. Like everything is not going to have the same response that you could have gave it in high school or before. Like you have to come at situations in different ways. And I think that's one major thing that my HBCU taught me.
Those were really great responses. I appreciate you all for being transparent about, like, you know, just how you feel about these questions, like, because I know it's not easy, especially you don't want to talk about your home, you know, in a bad light. So I really appreciate y'all for being honest. And Jalen, you really brought up something that's because to go to our next question, really regarding the financial aid situation. So many HBCU students have said that they love their HBCU but hate their financial aid office. Shed some light. What is going on in these financial aid offices? What's going on in your financial aid office at Philander and at the AUC?
What is not going on? I mean, honestly, the AUC is just like being completely transparent. In a all Black institution, it seems as if financial aid really don't care about you much. Like if you ain't get them their money, they like you can hit the door. You know what I mean? Like that's just to be completely honest. It seems as if like they're trying to start to help us, gain more access to scholarships. Like Morehouse, they just dropped a scholarship portal to where we log in and we can basically see all the institutional scholarships, and they're giving more money, more people to donate money so that we can open up these opportunities for us to get funding towards our institution. But yeah, like it's just the financial aid, in my opinion, always gonna be janky. That's just being completely honest. Have your money and stuff together before you step on campus, because there is a long line. That first week, everybody is in financial aid office. So yeah, that'll be my best advice.
Okay, so for me, I've had the wonderful, wonderful opportunity of having a scholarship and not having to go to that financial aid office too much. So God was really on my side on that, because I definitely walked by those long lines like, could not be me. That's really what I do. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, he was mainly right. The only thing that I would say about my school is that they do give a lot of scholarships. So most of our students are on scholarship. Well, I'm not gonna say most, but a lot of our students are on scholarship. So I can say that is one thing that my school does. And then they also send us a lot of emails about new scholarships we can apply to. We also have a partnership with UNCF. And they help us get a lot of scholarships too as well. So I think that is a pro about my institution, but the financial aid office definitely by itself is a little bit of a mess.
Oh yeah. So I was in some of those lines because I had a partial scholarship. So I was in some of those lines. It was stressful. But what I had to learn was like, one thing it taught me was that, okay, I need to know more about where my money is going, where it's coming from, and how to move around. So I learned a lot being in those lines and people moving money around and not telling me what was going on. So it helped you be more accountable for what's going on, be more responsible in your finances. And something I learned was just that with HBCUs, we had a late start. And with our late start, they didn't really trust Blacks with money at a point, so it's really, I feel like we're just trying to catch up. So you're trying to catch up to a place where it's been years before they allowed us to have our own. So yes, we got issues and struggles, but I feel like it's just a stress on people trying to do better. And sometimes it's the person who's just like, they really don't care. You're going to get that anywhere. It's going to be people who don't care. But on the other hand, I know it's a lot of people in the financial aid office who really tried to help me. And they just had a lot on their backs because they were trying to help everybody. So that's just my view on financial aid.
Students, I hope y'all listening. I might not. Go ahead, Alexander.
Real quick. I went to PWI. I don't count in this conversation, but Nyla Anderson is also on the panel. So Nyla, I need you to represent for the STO, ma'am. You're quiet and you're on the panel. So just want to throw that out there to throw her some questions. All right. All right.
I'm sorry. I didn't know I could talk.
Yeah, girl, you on the panel. Come on. What's going on at the STO with the financial aid? Go ahead, introduce yourself. What school you went to? Come on.
Okay, let me turn my camera on. Sorry. Yeah, you get out. Okay. Well, my name is Nyla Anderson. I go to Harris Stowe State University, the illustrious Harris Stowe State University, and I had to say that. And you said, what was the question?
What's going on in your financial aid office?
Oh, my financial aid office. Well, with me going here at Stowe, I have had to contact the financial aid office a couple of times, even though I don't pay for school, but still things go on. But going to HBCU, it's like for me, emailing them and calling them, it don't work. I have to go up there personally. Like I live 35 minutes away from the school, but anytime I need something, I have to go up to the school because if not, they're not gonna answer the phone. Just stuff like that. So yeah.
And listen, honestly, they're being honest and they're not telling any stories. It's the same thing where I went. So it just honestly teaches you to be proactive rather than reactive, making sure that all of your ducks are in a row before you actually get to school. That way when you're finally there, you can kind of relax a little bit and not have to stress about, oh, am I going to get done before the deadline and purge happens and stuff like that. So honestly, taking this advice, regardless, if you're thinking about going to HBCU, it's definitely necessary to know these things. And like I said, that way you can just be ahead of the game and you kind of know what's going to happen. Our next question is, it's going to kind of be a two-part question. You can answer it at this, kind of answer both. So what's going to be your biggest disadvantage and your biggest advantage of going to an HBCU from your perspective?
Okay, so for me, I think the biggest advantage was just being around people who look like me, who act like me, and you have a whole campus of people who are like striving to see you do great. So the whole campus, for the most part, you got people anywhere, some everywhere who don't want you to succeed, but for the most part, people are there they want to see you do great here. And they know what you're going through, so people get to really experience how you get a different you get diversity still there, even if it's just an HBCU, because you have people from all over and from out of the country, so it's still diverse. So I feel like that was my biggest advantage. I think the disadvantage would be just the lack of resources at my school. I wish we had more to put our hands on, but at the same time, it just taught us to work differently. So if we had less money in a department, okay, we need to fundraise, and then we got creative. So that it helped there. So that was, I would say that was the biggest disadvantage there.
I would have to say the biggest disadvantage at Morehouse will probably be comparing like the comparisons of what you doing to the next man. A lot of times, being in an institution where you in there with all males and then Spelman all women and then Clark mixed, is a lot of times you see a lot of the upperclassmen that's doing big things and you find yourself trying to go in their footsteps and kind of like retract and do what they did. So that's probably the biggest disadvantage. The biggest advantage, I would say, would probably be the amount of exposure and networking. We have tons of Fortune 500 companies that come into our classes, and they want us. Like they give us the pitch, and they're like, yeah, we want y'all. Like we come into y'all class, interrupting y'all lecture because we want y'all. Like we want y'all working at our companies. We want y'all to be the next CFO, CEO. So that'd probably be the two.
Okay, I could go. I would say that an advantage of going to HBCU is that like immediately you feel at home. I know when I applied for Hair Stowe and I went up there for like orientation and stuff like that, I just felt at home already. I felt like that's like my second family. And even with me being involved in different organizations, like I'm just so comfortable, like right off the bat. A disadvantage, I would say, is even with COVID, the lack of participation we have. Like I'll see my friends to go to MSU or like other PWIs and they'll have like a bowling event or any kind of event that everybody's invited to and everybody going. But like any events that I know at my school that we throw, it's always like a lack of participation. Like it's not too many people that participate. So I would say that's a disadvantage. For me, I would probably say an advantage is that my school really makes me feel like I have a family away from home. Like I have a mama, a grandma, a uncle, everybody up here at Philander, I promise y'all. And I just love, like I can walk down we got this street called, we call it the one way. I could just walk down the one way and I could just speak to anybody and I don't have to feel like I don't belong here or that they don't know me or they don't like me or something like that. And a disadvantage I could say about, I feel like this might be, I don't know if this is at any institution, but I think my institution has an issue with communication to the students. So it's a lot of stuff going on and then the students don't know about it and then we'll know about it at the last minute. And that's where a lot of the frustration comes from with, I think, HBCUs in general, is just lack of communication.
Oh, it's great. Like y'all gave some great advice on that one. I really like those answers. As it relates to my next question, it's really going to be, I want you to kind of put your mindset back in the space before you went to your HBCU, and tell me the advice that you would give yourself before you went to school.
Actually, you want to go? Okay. I say for me, I would have started looking at HBCUs earlier. Nothing against my illustrious institution, but it was a last minute choice for me. When I first started applying to college, I applied to all PWIs. I was like, I went to a mostly Black high school. I don't want to be around. No, I'm leaving. But over time, I started looking more into HBCUs and I actually visited some HBCUs. So then I started applying late. So then I had to go to like one that was going to give me the best of what I could get. So that's probably, I would just say, look earlier because you can find more if you look like earlier.
Something that I probably would say to my old self would probably be open-minded. Be open-minded and kind of continue to keep yourself motivated through the whole process of the college application. Through finding scholarships, through seeing campus and being around, stepping into that campus life. And even during the summertime, just being open-minded, being ready to just get out there and try new things. So a lot of times people step into college and want to do the same thing that they did before. Like you got to be creative, you got to step out there, step into them different organizations and clubs and, get your feet wet because you never know. You may be a business major, but you may end up being real tough with the media and entertainment side. So you may want to join, like we have our own TV channel called Maroon Tiger. So you may want to be a part of Maroon Tiger. So just, stepping out and being open to everything. So, yeah.
I feel like this advice is just, it doesn't matter what school you're attending, but just don't stress so much. Like, it's so much that kept coming up and things are going to always come up. But you don't have to stress over everything. You don't have to stress over these relationships, over the money, because it all will play out the way it's supposed to. So there's a lot of time I was frustrated and stressed out about classwork or just a million things going on. When I look back, I really would have been okay. If I would have just remained peaceful and just been like, you know what, it's going to work out. And that's and Ivory was one of my mentees back in the day. So I give her this advice all the time, like just stop stressing because it's going to work out exactly how it's supposed to play out. So yeah, that'll be my advice.
Nyla, did you want to add something to it?
Yeah, I can go. Well, I'm a freshman, so I feel like I'm still learning. But something I can say is that I wish I would have did things ahead of time. I feel like if I would have did things ahead of time, I would have got better opportunities or more opportunities, such as scholarships or Harris Stowe giving me scholarships. Like I didn't get anything from Harris Stowe because I feel like I did everything so late and so last minute. So I feel like if you know what you want to do, go ahead and do it. Like don't hesitate, because that's what I did.
Love that. I see it. Like honestly, nobody's experience is going to be the same, and so you see what based off everybody's response that it's literally about figuring out which is going to be the best for you and kind of making sure that you execute that plan and exploring your options to make sure you get the best out of that. Our next question is probably one of the most important questions. I'm sure all the students really want to know the answer to this question. So it is important that you all give a good answer on this. What is the food like?
At my school, it just depends on the day. Like it really does. I'm not gonna lie. Some days it's great, like 5-star, 10 out of 10. Some days it's like, why would y'all even put that together? That don't even make sense. Like, but fried chicken Thursdays, we have it on Thursdays. A lot of other schools do Wednesdays. We do it on Thursdays. Top tier. I'm not gonna lie. Philander deserve an award for that. It's 10 out of 10. But my school is very open to suggestions. So like we came up with a committee to help the CAF, and they've been taking our suggestions, so it gets better. You just gotta like work with them, and especially if y'all got like a student government association or a student activity board or anything like that, they can work with your CAF staff if your institution allows that. But yeah.
I guess in regards to Morehouse or the AUC, we got fried chicken Wednesdays and fried fish Fridays. Outside of those days, I mean, you have to pray for your stomach, you know what I mean? Because it's going to be some issues. But I feel like, you know, HBCUs will help, you know, build you a little callus in your stomach, and you'll be able to digest a lot more foods that you think that you couldn't digest before, because the struggle is real. The HBCU struggle exists. A lot of times you can't Uber and Lyft all the time, so you just got to settle for the cab. So it's not that bad, though. Honestly, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Like, it's not like no jail food or nothing like that. It'd be decent stuff, and they got a lot of options for you, like pizza, you know, wings, all that stuff, salads. So whatever you need, they gonna accommodate for you. But don't be expecting like no 5-star, 4 stars, more like 2.5, close to 1. You know, just being completely honest. But y'all gonna get through it though. Y'all gonna make it if y'all decide to go to HBCU.
Philander Smith College is not a 2. We like a 3.8. I give them that. I give them 3.8.
Respect.
Especially pre-COVID, we had a salad bar, a pizza bar, an omelet bar. They was doing good. Now COVID, I was really thinking of just COVID, because now it's limited. But 3.8 at the moment.
For sure. It's other stuff that you can go to too. Like we have a Chick-fil-A and stuff. Like it's a Moe's, it's a Subway on Spelman campus. So we got, you know, the franchise stuff on campus as well. So it's not like you just restricted to the CAF. My bad.
I'm not on campus, so I can't really say. I've heard a lot of things though. Like I know the food in the cafe, I heard it wasn't like the best. It's not too many options that you can choose from. It's like the same thing every day is what I've heard. But we do have this new Hornet Grill across from the campus, so I heard that was actually pretty good. But with me being in different organizations, I'm on campus like here and there. So one time I did go up there and I had some chicken nuggets and I had some bacon. And it was the best chicken nuggets I ever had. I didn't even have to have no sauce. They had the best chicken nuggets. I was like, I don't know if they seasoned the chicken nuggets. Like, I don't know if you season chicken nuggets. I don't know if they did. It was just so good, though. I was like, wow, Harris Stove, do what you got to do.
That's a weird combination. That's a weird combination.
It was so good. It was so good. I ain't had no sauce, nothing.
Y'all cracking me up. Okay. So what she said, 3.8 for Philander. Philander, it really depends on when you catch them. Like she said, fried chicken Thursday. That, you know, it's good when like the administration come out their office. You don't see them, but you'll see them coming out fried chicken Thursday. They be in there. I'm like, how y'all doing? Y'all know? It's like, no, we've been working here. It's like, okay. So it was good on that. I think when they opened the bistro, I gained a lot of weight because it was just, what is it? Chicken strips, cheese fries, Philly cheese. It was all good. And I was in there just
burgers,
everything. It was open late too when they first opened it, so you could go there after hours. I was in there. I said, oh, it was a problem. I had to get it together. And as for Harris Stowe, I actually was in a program at Harris Stowe, and the food was delicious every day for me. So the breakfast, lunch, we was there for breakfast and lunch. It was good. So yeah, I think they be doing all right. We just at Philander, we didn't have any franchises. So Jalen, that's nice that y'all get to have that.
We not that bougie. We
had Broadway. We had Broadway. You could walk around the corner. It's like Natural Bridge. You got all the food you need. That's it.
Y'all are hilarious. I'll even add to that. My school, Yeah, we kind of on the same schedule with the AUC. We fried chicken Wednesday, fish Friday, like I said. But it's like I said in the calf. Yeah, Fish Friday. Man, that was the day. You know, Chicken Wednesday was great, but Fish Friday was my day. But aside from that, like I said, we got the student center, and then when you come in as a freshman, like every year they give you like 175, 150 like Tiger books, and so you can use them in like the student center. We got Chick-fil-A and all these different like little bars and stuff in there that they can eat from, and so it's pretty nice. Like I said, so if you use your money too fast, then you'll be in the calf because that's where you're getting the swipes at. But like I said, that's dependent upon you. But yeah, that's how it kind of goes. So it's really just depending on the school, I see, with that question. My next question is going to be, what advice would you give to someone who has doubts that they'll receive the same education and opportunities as they would if they attended a PWI? Excuse me.
It's a lie. It's a lie. Don't believe none of that. I feel as if you're valued more as a student at an HBCU because you're put on a pedestal. You're getting the top, if not the best, Black, or you know what I'm saying, like just the best professors, you know, from around the country, around the world, like, and they looking at you like they want you to succeed. They want you to be the next top person. Like they're invested in you. So don't let that get to your head. Like HBCUs is literally about you. Like they want you to succeed. They do their best to help you get the resources that you need to do your best out there in the corporate world, if that's where you choose to go, or even in the entrepreneurial world, because I know it's a lot of entrepreneurs out here. So they give you the tools you need to succeed beyond college.
I agree 100%. I think I think college is more about opportunities and networking than education, because there's a lot of people walking around here with that little piece of paper and don't know a dang thing. But it's really who you know. And I feel like a HBCU really cares about you and they want you to know people. My first semester here, I met John Lewis, and I go to Philander. Like, y'all probably never even heard of Philander. I met John Lewis. I was working on a political campaign. Like, I was doing the stuff I wanted to do just because I could reach out to my teachers so easily, and they care about me as a student. So I think HBCU gives you more opportunities than you would have at a different institution that just sees you as a number.
Yeah, everything you guys already said. I felt like because we went to, it doesn't have to be small, but because we went to this small institution, you were able to connect with people a lot easier. So like I've been able to connect with, like she said, she met John Lewis. I met Damon Johns, the creator of Fubu, and a whole bunch of other people, a couple celebrities. And that's because I was able to, really what happened was I got into some trouble and they put me in a job. And then from that job, I was able to meet so many people. So it was a blessing, but the connections are great. And we were close to the community. So I was able to meet, councilmen. Just, you get to, and Arkansas is small. So Ivory can really speak to this because she does politics, but just being able to meet so many different people, and then having real connections with them, and they're calling you. And then also with alumni, I know when I was there, we had people from St. Louis who were doing like millionaires. They'll come there, they're giving us money, they're giving us job opportunities. They know us by name, they're calling us back. So I feel like you're, like Jalen said, it's a lie. You get a lot more connections. You get people who really care and they're striving to see you do great.
I definitely would have to agree with Jalen on when he said when you go to HBCU, it's literally about you. It really is. Like my professors, I can say they really care for me. I had class today, and first thing my professor said, she didn't even greet me. She didn't say, "Hey, Nyla, how you doing? I ain't seen you in a week." First thing she said was, "Nyla, where your paper at?" Like they be on you about your stuff. Sometimes like in PWI or a bigger school, they'll probably just like, you don't turn it in. Okay, they're not gonna say anything. They just gonna grade it. Me, she was like, "Nyla, where your paper at?" I was like, "I got it. I got your paper, girl. I'm gonna turn it in at 5:00, like you said." So I just like at HBCU, you really have people like second home, second moms, like second family. So yeah.
Yeah, and I ain't even gonna be too long, but to piggyback off everything that they're saying, that's real. Like when I went to school, like I went to school on a full ride scholarship, of course, so like on academics, and so of course I was smart, but like when I struggled in college like tremendously, and it wasn't because school was so hard, but because I was kind of dealing with life all at the same time, and it was like just to have people there that actually cared that I made it through that experience and I made it through the traumatic experiences that I may have went through or whatever was going on in college. Like it made all the difference, like, to kind of have that support system just really rooting you on along the way. Because like they said, a lot of professors will give up on you. If you don't turn in an assignment, that's it, that's all. And we're grading it, it's a zero, and one assignment can really turn your whole grade around, honestly, in college. So I think it's like, it's important that you go to a school that actually where people do care about you actually completing this education, not just you getting here, but actually getting you through it. So I think that's really big. Lastly, so we got one more question, and then we're going to open up the floor for like questions from you all, if you have any. The last question is going to be, what's the one thing you take pride in about your HBCU?
And
Go ahead.
I
Go
just
ahead.
wanted to add in that Kyra Mitchell, who's an alumni from Howard, just joined. So I just want to give you a minute to introduce yourself, maybe speak about your graduating class, and I guess you can just jump right in if there's anything you want to add about your experience.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm late. My name is Kyra Mitchell. I went to Howard University, graduated in 2018 with my engineering degree. And what I'm most proud about Howard, I think that our reach is what I'm most proud about. I think that it's not as known how many VPs and managers and different things like that in corporate America are Howard alum. But when I get into these spaces, I realize that we've had the opportunity to be in some very interesting spaces that I think a lot of African Americans aren't always able to get into. And then we're always super ready to reach back. And I think that's so important. So yeah.
Thank you, Kyra.
I love that, Kyra. Actually, if you have anything else, like I said, because we're pretty much on the last question. So if you have anything that you want to talk about, just a little bit about your experience and what that was like at Howard, and any advice you want to give to the students if they're thinking about considering the HBCU.
Advice. I would just have to say go for it. Like, honestly, I think that I wasn't even going to apply to Howard. It was not on my list, nothing. And my mama was like, girl, if you don't apply to this school, like, period, So I
Yeah.
applied and I got in. And I think it's just one of the best decisions I've ever made. Like, for it to have been on a whim, I think, I think as far as Howard is concerned, I think it's, in a way, it has some elitist qualities about it and not the positive kind. But on the positive side of that, I was able to see Black people in a light that I've never seen them in before. I'm so used to seeing, I went to Hazelwood East, so I'm used to seeing a certain caliber of Black people, and my family is that way too. And so you go to a place like this where you see actual Black wealthy people, like doing really, really well. Their parents and grandparents went to Howard, and, everybody there is not a first generation college student. And it's just it's really a different world, and it helped me understand that, that number one, there is this gap to bridge, but that it's so possible. Like there's so many people that have already done it. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm coming in so late. I wish I could answer more questions.
No, you were perfect. Thank you so much for giving us that. That was awesome. And so, like I said, you all can dive into the last question. Like I said, whatever you want to say.
I would just say what I take pride in is just love that is there and the pride that the campus has, you know, for their school. So like if you go to HBCU homecoming, you know, everybody is out there. Okay. It's like a family reunion. But I love, like, that was the thing that really pulled me in, was just seeing all this love and how everybody embraces you at this school. You know, so I took pride in that because, and I made sure that's what I brought to the school, because I was able to go back and work for my alma mater. So I always wanted people to know, I'm like, this is love. Like, you come here, you're gonna get love. It might be tough love at times, but at least you know it's real love, you know? So that's what I take pride in.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You want me to go? All right. One thing that I've embraced the most from Morehouse is definitely the brotherhood and the brotherly love. It's nothing like being a Black man in today's society and seeing other Black men wanting you to actually win and not lose, you know, or just having ill intent when it comes to you and your success and your journey. There's been a few times where I've, you know, had my down days when it comes to being in school, you know, because you out there, you far from home, you don't got your family there, like you only call them, you know, so they not, you don't feel their presence. And sometimes it's hard to even feel the support through the phone. And it was times, you know, where I was a little down, but, you know, I could depend on my brother to pick me back up. Be like, man, you know what I'm saying? You got this, you know, like it's just a season, you know, like you gonna grow from this, you gonna get it. And so that's something that I embrace the most about it. Cause it's like when at the end of the day, we all want to be something big. So why not continue to collaborate and build relationships now so that when we get to that point, you never know who you might need. You know, like you never know. You could be in a stadium and you could be a student at Harris Stowe, you in a stadium, somebody walk past you like, yeah, I know you, I remember you. You talk to them, they're another student at Harris Stowe, come to find out they the GM, you know, of the stadium. They getting you free season tickets. You never know. That's what I'm saying. HBCUs, we everywhere, we deep. So like, you know, like the lady was saying about about Howard, like it's scattered. You never know until you talk to people. So build relationships. Like that's one thing that I embraced the most, was just being able to build so many genuine relationships with my brothers at my institution. So yeah, that'd be that.
I agree with Jalen and Tiara. I definitely feel like I have a family, not only here, but at other HBCUs. I got the opportunity to attend a conference. It's called NASAP. And I was around so many other people from HBCUs. And still to this day, I communicate with some of them. And I just feel like it's a certain bond that you have with people that look like you, and it makes everything that you went through at this crazy HBCU worth it, honestly. And another thing specifically pertaining to my HBCU, I think I admire how involved we are in the community. And because Little Rock and all its history, I think my institution is even more important, not only to the community, but to the students, to really teach them about advocacy and social justice and things like that that are important to these streets that we're walking on every day. So that's really something that I admire about my institution.
Something that I take pride in at my HBCU is the support. I know at Harris Stowe there's like an unconditional amount of support. Like it's crazy. Like I can make a flyer right now and be like, hey y'all, I'm finna do the stanky leg on the quad. I need y'all to come out and watch me stanky leg. They gonna come out and watch me stanky leg. Like I'm not even playing. But like I know when I ran for Miss Freshman and Miss Sophomore, no, let me say Miss Freshman. When I ran for Miss Freshman back in October, like I had just started school. Like I'm a freshman, I don't know anybody. I still post my flyers and stuff. And so many people was posting my flyers that went to Harris Stowe. Like people I didn't even know, upperclassmen, like all these people like, vote her for Miss Freshman. I'm like, I don't even know this girl, but she posted me and stuff like that. So I'm just saying like, it's lots of support. So I was able to win Miss Freshman. I ran for Miss Sophomore and I won Miss Sophomore as well. So next school year, I'll be Miss Sophomore.
I also ran for Miss Freshman and won. No.
I love that. I really appreciate that. If I had to add to it, I'll say I think it's something that we can all take pride in. I think it's that honestly, like, you know, it's literally like a family. You know how you can go beat on a little brother or something like that. You can go hit him or something, but you don't want nobody else touching them or talking bad about them, And that's kind of how it feels about your school, and that's the type of pride that you have with it, because you literally you literally find yourself in those places, at being at those places, and like to see. Like honestly, I feel like I know not just in my HBCU, but just the ability to network. Like I don't not only know the future millionaires of the world, I know the future Black millionaires of the world, the people who are going to change the world. And I think that's really big for me. So like that network within itself. So I love that. So if you at this time, like I said, we have about 15 more minutes or so. If you have if the students want to ask questions, this is the time to do so. They're pretty open books. So I advise you all to shoot. Go ahead and take advantage of the time.
I got a question. Oh, okay. So I don't know. I was just like real curious because you all was just talking.
Fade it out. Your mic muted.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So like coming from like the high school that you all came from versus going to the HBCU, like it was a different experience, you said, but like I don't know, like I really want that experience. But like, can you like elaborate more? Because like I know like the school I go to is not like too ghetto, but it's like I don't want a ghetto experience from college. So like, would you say like HBCUs are not like all like that? Like, do they have like study groups and stuff like that? Just things that like they don't portray from that.
I would just say from personal experience, HBCUs are ghetto, but it's a different type of ghetto. Like it's not the same type of ghetto that you gonna know in your hometown. It's like a bougier level of ghetto. I love to call it bougetto. Because that's the reason I really didn't want to attend the HBCU, because I was like, it's gonna be ghetto. It's just gonna be a whole bunch of, because that's all I was exposed to. And then coming to a HBCU, it has its faults, but at the same time, everybody knows that we're here for a purpose. So it's like you're gonna still have the same opportunities and stuff you have at your other schools, like study groups, tutoring, all that type of stuff. It's just gonna be a little more seasoning. That's the word. It's gonna be a little seasoning on it.
I feel like, I guess if I'm understanding your question right, with the transition or comparing the two and seeing how high school life can compare to the HBCU life, being that we're in public, public high schools or private high schools with majority Black students. If that's what you're asking, yeah, I feel like I look at high school as like just me being there was just like, all right, it's on me. Like it's more independent work. Like I gotta get to it. Like it ain't no study groups for real. Like everybody on their own type time. Like either you smart, or you an athlete, or you a nerd, or you just one of them students. People like that's just one of them. But at college, it's like, man, you get with groups of people and you see everybody on the same type time, for real, during midterms, finals, everybody in the library till 4 a.m., 5 a.m. studying. Like you see that, and then you also see those successful students on the HBCU campus. They in the books majority of the time. You don't see them at parties for real, but then you see the party dudes. They always at parties. Some of them be in the books, some of them don't. So it's like it's a mix. Like I feel like it's very, very. It's more cultured than your regular high school, like the high school experience. Very more, and plus it's an independent aspect to it too, because you out now, you away from high school. Like you can't just go home. Like you can't just get picked up by your mama if you get in trouble. Like they not calling your mama either if you get in trouble in college. Like you get in trouble, it's on you. Like it's just so it's a big maturity thing as well. Like you got more freedom to roam, freedom to get around, like do what you want to do. So it's more pressure on you as an individual to figure out what exactly you want to do and how you want to spend your time versus when you're dealing with college versus high school.
I agree with that 100%. And I feel like time management is definitely important. Because like he was saying, some people be in the books or some people be at the parties. I be trying to be at all of that. So I really got to manage my time. Like my grades are A1, but I rarely miss a party. So it's really like an independent thing. Like you gotta do it yourself. Like nobody's gonna do it for you. And that's something that college really taught me too.
Jalen basically took the words out of my mouth. So I ain't gonna even add nothing to that because I basically gonna say the same thing. Only thing I can say is that, like he said, high school is more so like, for me in high school it's like doing myself kind of thing. I was coming home, I was studying or this. I wasn't really depending on people to help me out. Like I got to college and right off the bat, like I said, people I didn't even know, we created study groups. We was taking exams together, like open up exams, helping each other out, just stuff like that. So
Or you got something you want to add?
No, they pretty much they pretty much said it. The only difference, I guess, for me, I went to Career Academy, Riverview and Career Academy, and then I went to Philander. And the difference is like what Jalen said, you have more people who are interested in doing great. One, because you're paying to be here, so you don't want to get kicked out and got to pay loans back or whatever. So it's a lot more people striving to do good to get out of this school. Whereas in high school, I had less people who were really caring about grades, they caring about getting outside. Everybody want to get outside. But like Ivory said, I was in the books and at the party, so I had to learn time management. But it works out. So yeah, but that's pretty much all I had to add.
All right, so I got a question too. I'm Daviana, and y'all talked about this a little bit about paying for college with financial aid and everything, but can y'all elaborate a little bit more about how y'all pay for college going to HBCU, because they're not really giving me any money.
Yeah, that's majority of everybody's case. Being completely honest, some institutions just don't have it like that to be able to give you the funds. Like Spelman, they're the number one HBCU, yet they barely give out scholarships like that. Morehouse as well, and there's multiple other HBCU institutions. Um, Honestly, you have to outsource. You have to do your research. You got to just sit down, find those scholarships like through UNCF. If you want to write that down. United Negro College Fund, and it's other ones that Wyman will expose you to as well. And yeah, you just gotta sit down and thug it out, like drill just scholarships, like literally set aside. Right now, my best advice would be set aside days and weekends, or a specific day, or maybe even a specific weekend to where you dedicate that time to filling out scholarships. Because don't rely too heavily on the institutional scholarships, because you still got to think it's all students applying for that too. Not to say that it's even more applying for the regular stuff, but it's more outsourced like scholarships that are available that not a lot of people end up finding, that if you apply, you will mess around and get it. So yeah, you just gotta designate you a day, whether that be on a Saturday or a Sunday evening. Say, all right, I'm gonna fill out 5 scholarships, I'm gonna fill out 10 scholarships today, and make that your goal, and just continue to do that. Like the more scholarships you fill out, the easier it'll be like on you and your stress level, and as far as you trying to think about the financial aid aspects of things, because yeah, like that'll most likely be taken care of if you do the work. So yeah.
Something I'd like to add. So for me, I had to take out loans initially, and I didn't know a lot about financial aid. Really didn't make much sense to me at first. But what I did learn was I did know about work study. So I did have work study, and that helped me out, but I still needed some money because after work study, I still had to pay something. So I became an RA, and they helped pay for room and board. So that was something I learned. And then, like we all said, networking, I was able to get scholarships through people I knew. So once I was in the school, they gave me a partial scholarship coming into the school. But once I was in the school and I started networking, I was able to receive scholarships from there. So that's something else to look into. And then also, if you know of any alumni that's going to, that's in your city that went to that school, always talk with them, because like I said, I was getting money from alumni throughout the school year. They would send, even if it wasn't a lot, they'll send something because I was a student there. So those are just a few things that I tapped into. And you can always have a job while you're there. It's an extra responsibility, but being an RA is as well. But I would suggest looking into being an RA and work study, because those are two things that are on campus. You don't have to go too far. You can still get your work done. So those are my suggestions.
I can piggyback off that as well. I go to a super underfunded HBCU. I go to Harrisville, like I said before. And in high school, I made excellent grades. I had a great GPA, all of this. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to Harrisville. I'm gonna apply. They're gonna give me some kind of money. They didn't give me anything. Like Harrisville didn't give me nothing. So what I did, I just found my own scholarships, like Jalen said. Like that's what I don't pay for school now. I go to school for free, even with me not being on campus. I go to school for free because, like he said, I knew, like I knew from the beginning, I do not want to pay for school. I have 4 sisters. The older 2 are in college, and then I have a sister that's a senior right now. So all that money on my mom and dad, I'm just like, I got to do something. So I just found as many scholarships as I could, and it covered the cost plus more. Refund checks be fat. So yeah.
For me, I actually have a full ride scholarship, so I didn't have to do that part, but I also have to take an overload for most semesters. So I have to take about 18 credit hours each semester. So that keeps me busy. So I was not able to get like an off-campus job for like things that I need. So something I would suggest is to look into things that you can do on campus that can earn you money. For example, I am SGA vice president, and I get paid from that. And I'm also a social justice fellow, and I get paid from that. I don't know, I get paid from something else too though, but just look on your campus and ask for opportunities to like be in stuff on campus and get paid. So that cuts like travel expenses. Like you don't have to go anywhere to work. You can get everything on campus, and that includes work study, RA, and all of that stuff too. But it's like simple organizations that you could be in, that you could be making money and doing stuff that you actually want to do. So
hey Dwayne, can I ask a little question? I just want to direct this to Kyra. We know that Howard is very competitive, and you know, after the fact, you may want to apply for scholarships, but can you kind of talk about that preparation that you took while you were in high school to get into Howard, and ultimately, what did your ACT score look like? What was that GPA that allowed you to get into Howard, and how did you pay for that?
Yes, I was just gonna say, so I had a partial scholarship, but it was pretty much a full scholarship. The only thing I didn't pay for was, I think my meal plan, and I got that from FAFSA. So, but I got in with a 29 ACT, so I automatically qualified for the freshman scholarship. And I just want to say that even if you do receive money from some of these institutions, college itself is difficult, but remaining on a scholarship that is dependent on your GPA is very stressful. I lost my scholarship twice. So like all the different avenues that everybody is here saying to look into, especially UNCF, just make sure that you're reaching out. I did have an executive position with the College of Engineering, so I got paid from that. And then, of course, like she was saying, an RA and different things like that. Definitely look into what you can do, work, study, etc., because they will snatch them scholarships from you, and you will be looking crazy, seriously. So, yeah.
Thank y'all for those answers. Honestly, like I said, that's literally like the process. I mean, same thing that happened with Kyra kind of happened with me in a sense. I lost my scholarship after a period of time. Like, so like what they're saying, like, it's one thing to kind of, yeah, it's great to have those scholarships, but to be solely dependent upon them, puts you in a position to where you don't have very much room for mistakes, and so in a sense, so you want to make sure that when you choose a school that you actually want to be at, choose a school not just based off finances, but choosing based off the fact that, hey, I can see myself being here regardless as to whether or not if it was paid for or not, because at the end of the day, that something life happens, and so that's what happened with me, and I'm grateful that I was at a school that I was able to maintain and manage, and even with having to take out loans or whatever the case may have been, but just keep that in mind. Like, it's definitely important when it comes to like picking that perfect school, and making sure that you want to go to have that HBCU experience. Don't never depend on one thing in particular. Always try to explore your options and do the best you can with that. Right now the time is 5:01, so I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to take up too much of you all's time. Alexander, do we have any more time?
Yeah, I had one thing. First of all, thank you, panel, for being on here. The Black greatness is just overflowing through my screen, and I thank you all. I went to PWI and I regret it. So I'm living vicariously through your experiences. So thank you. Jealous. I wanted to ask Nyla a question because I know a lot of the students on here are probably thinking about HBCU, but they are stuck on that financial portion. So Nyla, you said you did specific things when you looked at scholarships once you decided on Harris Stowe. Can you say maybe specifically where you looked if it wasn't UNCF, so that those students can kind of write that down to start looking? Because I know a lot of people are like kind of in that situation where they're looking for money now. They kind of want to go to HBCU, but as we know, the price tag is expensive. So now they're just trying to figure out where to look specifically. And if anyone else has any places you looked that I can add in the chat and send to them, that would be great, so that we can help them get this money so they can thrive and not go to PWI like I did. Okay, thanks.
A lot of the scholarships that I do have that I received were actually from Scholarship Central. Some were from Wyman. Wyman provided them. I have another one. I won that one a long time ago in like 8th grade. That was like a $10,000 scholarship. I can't even remember what it was called, but Scholarship Central is really good. It goes based off of the information you input on the website, so it gives you a lot of recommended scholarships. So a lot of things I was recommended, I qualified for, and I filled them out. And I didn't get everyone, but I got a decent amount.
Also, I'll add in, you can potentially TMCF, Thurgood Marshall College Fund. That you can potentially find some things on there as well as it relates to scholarships and stuff like that. Yeah. And I would definitely, just for all of you, if you have a school in mind, contact the school. It's one thing to look online, but it's another thing to contact them and talk to them directly. Get on the phone with someone, let them know that you're at, that, hey, I'm really adamant about trying to attend this HBCU, but I don't have any money. Can you point me in some directions as to where can I, and talk, like I said, to talk with your coaches as well. Like I said, about those options. Like I said, that's really important. We're talking about HBCUs. That personable connection is going to be your friend. So always remember that. So that's my last little piece. Is there anything else before we get off?
I would say look for schools that do. Some schools do, like if you apply early, you get a certain scholarship, and you can get that just for applying early, no matter like your grades or any test scores. And then also something I suggest is if you feel like you have good enough test scores and grades, that you can look up what schools will give you the most money by your GPA and your scores on your test. So that would be a good opportunity. If you really don't know where you want to go at all, that could be a good help, like just guide you in a direction.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and taking the time out of your day to, just to share some knowledge, give us some wisdom, because I think we all needed it, especially the students, they're coming up with big decisions, and I think it's important that they get that advice. So I want to thank you all, like, all the panelists, give y'all a little hand clap in the chat, So I appreciate you all. Like I said, right now at the time, like I said, 5:04. So if we don't have any other things, I think we can all hop off. We do have an event next week, students. So if you want to be a part of that, we have our trade panel discussion. It's going to be going on next Wednesday. So keep that in mind as well. Would you all have a great day? Take care.